We're talking about Wolfwalkers. Stylish as hell. Color and design.
If you're into Gendy Tartakovsky stuff, this guy did Samurai Jack on War Shorts. You'll enjoy that. Look at this. Hand-drawn animation.
So much attention to detail in the backgrounds, too.
And it's some really serious themes.
The Lord Protector is super religious as a man.
Lord shall guide us.
And then there's the one derpy dog with like his tongue hanging out the side. We have a very beautiful music video just thrown into the movie. I'm running with the wolves. It very much reminds me of Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Strangers Like Me from Tarzan.
They're declaring war on the wolves proper. War of the Wolves. It's like a Avatar meets Ferngully meets very, very close to furry propaganda meets Brave.
If you're a furry or just into anthro stuff, like, you should really watch this movie. I think you'll really like it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Narratives and Nonsense. We are friends talking about random and recent stories, newsworthy or otherwise. I'm Jordan.
Okay. Up, it's last in line, finer than a dime, Mr. Connor.
Hey, Connor. So, today we're going to be talking about Wolfwalkers. It's an animated movie. It came out in 2020, so I got to watch it mid-shutdowns, which was kind of entertaining. You hadn't seen it before. And then we have uplifting news, we have our random holidays, all that jazz. So, starting off with this last week, Connor, how are you?
It was a week, just work and stuff mostly. Finally went from like V3 to from like V3 to V4 to like V5, V6 this week climbing, so that was cool.
Now for us non-climbing people,
I can't explain it to you. Climbing grades are stupid. I just went to the next level of hard route from where I was.
Is it a like like it's now 20% harder compared to 10% harder from previous levels kind of idea?
Like there's a lot less footholds than there used to be, and the holds get worse all the time. So instead of having a nice hold where you can like grab on it, or it's like a handle or a jug, you're starting to get into nasty things, and the starts really suck. Yeah, and there's a lot less footholds than you'd actually want. So, is
it a pretty gradual scale? Would you say? Like, does it make sense, or is there like difficulty spikes?
It like each one is like it's like a consistent spike of, it's like initially you've got what we call ladders, so it's just literally just doot. And then it becomes like ladders that are more spread out and have like worse holds, and then it just slowly, and then the footholds start going away, and then the handholds get really bad and
trickles through.
Yeah.
All right. My biggest references for climbing, I went climbing once in high school, and then there's the VR game. So like that's actually really fun. I think you would enjoy it because it's just fun. Even if you're not literally climbing, you still get a little bit of workout out of it because it's stressful. You have to actually, you end up inadvertently like holding your arms for dear life. Like I've walked out of it completely sweaty. Oh, it's great. Okay, so climbing, what else?
This is really most of it. Like other than that, it's work and Dark Souls.
All right. Thanksgiving went well?
Yeah, it was good. I got to do it with a lot of family I haven't done it with for in a while, so that was really neat.
Nice. Saw
some folks out from Wyoming that I hadn't seen since like forever, and their babies are now kids, so that was crazy. Oh, they came down from
that
Wyoming.
Whiplash.
Yeah,
is something else. I know that
was really tight.
Yeah, I run into that with dance stuff because for dance, I pop in, pop out for shows like every couple months kind of thing. And it's just like, oh yeah, like you're 2 years old. Oh wait, you're 16 and driving. Jesus Christ.
Jeez.
It's a whole ordeal. Goodness, Thanksgiving was pretty good on my end. Same as it usually is, extended family. We had more of the extended family than some other years, which was really fun.
Nice.
And then some of our cousins, I got out Destinies. I love that board game. So I administered it so that they could play through the story. The witch ended up winning, which is the first in the 3-4 times that we've done that werewolf.
Yeah.
First scenario. Oh, it's so good.
I remember if we talked about it in here, we might have.
We did. We talked about it, when, this was when we were like almost, I almost was on AGT. We had like a little bit of a gap. That was what we were talking about it. Cause It's so much fun.
I was the hunter. I killed a werewolf.
Yeah.
Bad guy.
And then, goodness, what else? I mean, most of my last week was lots of rehearsals, and then we had our show on Saturday, which, we put together this 90-minute show within like a week or two, which is insane, for silhouettes and shadow work and choreographing it all.
Live performance in general, like God.
Yeah. It was a miracle that it turned out pretty well. And, I will say that the tech run went nearly flawlessly, which meant the first show was a little bit more rough. So I had a quick change that I had to do. And I ended up getting, it's a Christmas show. So, we have like a little bit of just like Mary Joseph kind of stuff, as well as, you know, the usual like Santa Claus, like go to the grocery store, Black Friday, market, turkey grabbing, all that jazz. When I was getting into the Joseph costume, like I couldn't get the pants on fast enough. And so I was just like, no, my shawl just barely made it on. And then I had like a little bit of a headdress piece that like ended up getting stuck in part of the other costume. So I ended up just taking it off outright. And, it was wrapped around like a flower bouquet that I hand off to Mary. So that I ended up like spinning with half basically a scarf and a bouquet while holding her and partnering, centering her down. And it's like, hi, I know I just gave you flowers. Here's this cloth as well. Please love me. Continue from there. That was very weird and entertaining. So, I mean, we make it work, thankfully. The show must go on. And then, it was also Andor. The Andor finale happened, and it's really good. And I really like Andor. And it's just everybody that I talk to has either seen it and been through like the entirety of it and just loves it immensely, or has been like interest piqued. They're not sure how to go about it. And I'm like, just dive in, take it in chunks. Like 3 episodes at a time is practically perfect. Yeah. Oh, it's
was
such
it released just 1 episode at a time, or?
So when we talked about Andor, it was those first 3, and then after that, it was one a week consistently from that point. Now the whole thing is all there all together. I think this is probably one of the better binge-worthy Star Wars shows, especially if you do it in like
many
3
episodes, anyways.
It's 12, which for a show is not a lot. For a Disney Plus show is like double the usual, because most Disney Plus shows are like 6 episodes. Yeah. Kenobi was that way. Boba Fett should have been 4, and 2 of them are Mandalorian. And then, goodness, what else? She-Hulk. I think even like, Moon Knight was 6 episodes, if I remember. So 12 means that it's a big deal. And you know what? It absolutely worth every minute. God dang it. I love Andor. So that was that. This next week for Colorado stuff, it's starting to get cold proper. It's like 30s to 50s compared to 40s to 60s those last week. And then we're supposed to get snow tomorrow, Tuesday. We record on Sundays, release Mondays, yeet. So there could be some snow happening. Get ready to shovel the car out. And then cloudier towards the tail end of the week. That's Colorado for you, though. Otherwise, news stuff proper. Today is really fun because it's a lot of wholesome things. And then it's also the week after Thanksgiving. So I just feel like it just congregates even more random wholesome feel stuff. One thing that was really cool is back in 2016, there was an accidental Thanksgiving text where a grandma went to text, whatever family saying, hey, it's at this time, show up, blah, blah, blah. We're bringing this, that, the other. These people will be there. And the person responded, he's like, who is this? Your grandma. What? Are you sure? Here, send me a photo. And it's just this 58-year-old white woman. And then the guy responds. He was 17 at the time, just this black kid in high school. He's like, yeah, you're definitely not my grandma. Can I still get a plate though? And then since then, they've been maintaining this friendship and Thanksgiving tradition in the 7 years since that's happened. So the grandma in this case is Wanda Dench, and then the 17-year-old is Jamal Hinton. Now it's she's 65 this year. He's in his 20s. He's like working, graduated, all that jazz. One of the more interesting things is the fact that it is much more of a friendship. So it's something where Wanda ended up getting her first tattoo in her 60s, and it's 3 stars where one's for her mother, one's for her father, and then one is for her husband who passed away from COVID in 2020. And then he's talking about how he's like gotten a girlfriend and how they'll have barbecues or like sports or casual night type stuff. They tell each other everything, and it's gotten to a point where Netflix has actually reached out to them. I believe they announced it last year that they're in the works for making a Netflix project about the Thanksgiving text. So super wholesome, very fun, especially if you'd seen the meme all the way back when, because it really is hilarious. One of those mistaken identities, and then just the gall of younger people, because like if I got a text like that, I don't think I would be anywhere near willing to be like, yeah, so
we old farts wouldn't do something.
Is that invitation still good? I don't even know if that's just me being old or if it's because I'm shy. But I mean, we would have been 22, 20?
No idea. I don't know how old I am now.
Age is but a number. I don't think that's how it usually is used, but let's call it that. Another wholesome story. This is about an older woman named Nola Carpenter. She is 81. She was working at Walmart. And this 19-year-old named Devin, he worked for like, you know how there's like a third-party company that'll like sell stuff within the department store. He had a similar position to that. According to him, it was like his first day in. He's in the break room, and in limps Nola, this old woman who just kind of sits there and just deep breath. He ended up catching it on film and posted it on TikTok saying like, life shouldn't be this hard. And it exploded. They ended up making a GoFundMe. Within 24 hours of the GoFundMe going live, they raised over $110,000. He got in contact with Nola's daughter to like do this handoff. And when they did, she's super appreciative. She's like, oh my gosh, that's going to make such a difference. Like once you get under 100K, the mortgage goes down significantly. Yeah. But, you know, I'm still going to have to work to get the remainder of like 60, 70K paid off. That was done. That happened not much longer after that initial 24 hours in that meetup. So she's properly like able to retire. And one of the things that I think is the most like sweet about it is, you know, I'll miss the customers. You know, it's something where they know to look for me and that they check up on me and everything like that. And she's very excited to finally get the chance to like sit back at home.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, because I know for my own family's sake, my grandma ended up inadvertently getting into retirement during COVID. And we at first were worried that she would have to go and find something. Yeah. But we ended up, and by we, most of it, I would say, is my uncle jumped in and started working around the finances, and we're like, oh no, we can like make this work. And she's loved retirement since.
No kidding.
Yeah, she has time to just do things that she wants to do and focus on herself. And if she doesn't feel well, she could just sleep in. Yeah, all that jazz. So night and day difference. So congrats to Nola. She'll retire at the beginning of the year once she gets through the holiday season, because she knows that it gets crazy during the holidays and she doesn't want to leave them hanging immediately. That's how you know she's dedicated. Meanwhile, another thing that was kind of wholesome, out in Utah, there's a gentleman by the name of Shane Adams who 8 years ago ended up losing his horse Mongo. Back in 2014, they were out camping and got caught in the middle of a snowstorm. And it's one of those things where horses are pretty intelligent. He kind of expected his horse to just make his way back. That's kind of the huge in his case. Didn't end up happening. They ended up searching for over 3 years. It was himself and his dad, like every single weekend they'd go out and start looking. Eventually they just kind of gave up on it. At that point, you just kind of assume, all right, they might have passed or what have you. And in August of this last year, his dad ended up passing away, but afterwards, he ends up getting a message request from somebody that works in the Bureau of Land Management out in Utah. They ended up finding Mongo. He had apparently been spotted with a herd or group of wild Mustangs. And given whatever planning, excavation, what have you, they needed to move or relocate a lot of the horses. So they expanded efforts. They managed to get the horse. They proved that it was him by shaving away or getting underneath some of the winter
brand.
Yeah, to get to his brand. And they're like, yep, that's him. He's 400 pounds lighter, but he was still bigger than a lot of the other horses he was with. And he still has the same habits as far as gearing up, getting into the trailer, the whole 9 yards. So Shane was very happy about that. He had gone through the ringer between that and then dad's passing. He ended up getting divorced in that interim. It's a whole story that he experienced. He's like, wow, what a surprise blast from the past showing back up. It's fascinating.
Always good news.
Yeah, especially my sister's a horse person. I know those relationships are a lot tighter than with some other pets. It's a big deal if you end up losing your horse. Going from that into more sciencey stuff, because there's always cool breakthroughs. The FDA just approved a gene therapy for hemophilia. For those at home, hemophilia is when you get a cut or something. Usually what should happen is that your blood will clot, and that's where you get scabbing from. And that's so that your body can heal the wound. With hemophilia, if you get a cut, you bleed and you just keep bleeding and it doesn't stop. I had a friend of mine that was friend through the family kind of thing. He had the same condition, and it was something where, depending on the severity of hemophilia, you have to get infusions for the clotting factor to make sure that you don't end up bleeding out just on an accident. In this case, it was something where they're working on, they have this new treatment where they basically insert the medicine into the liver so that it will produce what's called, they deliver factor 9 is what they called it. It'll produce some of that clotting factor, so it either reduces the severity or, more importantly, reduces how much of that kind of additional infusion that you need for that clotting factor. So that way it's a lot safer to live your normal day-to-day life. You don't have to be as on top of things. If not, start to get towards properly not dealing with it at all. The part that's really crazy with it is it's gene therapy. It's not just all right, here's a blood transfusion, have a nice day kind of idea, or take a pill, call it a day. It's messing with the genetics itself so that it will continue producing, and it should be a much longer lasting effect, because we're getting into, your cells are now doing what they're supposed to be doing. You're good to go. The parts that are a little bit more restrictive right now is this is a very new thing. So treatment is $3.5 million. It is the most expensive, single use medicine that we have, as far as more available things. However, while it is new, it is something that will continue to expand and grow on, and as far as the manufacturing of it. And then while this is the first one approved for FDA, there is another one that is working on approval for the FDA that just passed over in Europe. So we're going to see more back and forth. There's a little competition with it that'll bring the price down as well. So there you go. That was something that was really fascinating. Plus has a little bit of tie for somebody that I do know. So very, very cool on that front. Another thing that was cool is we now have nanobots that are cancer fighting antibodies.
Nanobots.
Right? So for this is in Australia. They're starting to do their first human trials. And one of the things that was really cool is that it's computer programmed, so you can first have it go through for the cancer fighting part, find tumors, determine whether they're good or bad. And then adding to it, it's much more stable and longer lasting than some other cancer killing virus treatments kind of things. Because it's something where you can kind of alter a virus to do it by itself. With the nanobots, it doesn't have to like live in the system as a part of the system, because viruses need to reproduce to continue living kind of idea. With the nanobots, it's something that can just like hang out, do its thing, and then continue about its business. But it's also computer program, which means we could theoretically add more functionality to it so that it's not just a single use thing, which, we've talked about this before. If you can find a treatment or something that has multiple uses, it's much more likely to get used far more widely, get cheaper, blah, blah, blah. So that was something that was really cool because nanobots, yeah. And then going from that into bigger picture things, the US is set to outpace coal with its renewables by the end of this year. So as of right now, it's looking like coal's at about 20%. Another like nearby thing would be nuclear is about 19%. Gas is something like 38% of our energy. Renewables, and that would be solar, wind, hydro. Those are looking to be at 22% by the end of the year, which is massive. It's a 58% increase since 2019. Just to show like how much of a jump we've done. We still need to basically double how much more infrastructure we're getting like on a year by year basis. But one of the biggest things is, ironically, the power itself isn't much of an issue. It's getting it connected to the grid.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of backlogs for getting the stuff plugged in. The actual metric, I'm gonna pull that up because it was pretty cool. The amount of wind, solar, battery stuff that we have some estimates that it's like 930 gigawatts like ready to go, while the capacity of the US power system, at least going by the article, is 1,150. So we almost have the US capacity ready to be plugged in. We just need to be able to plug it in. That's our limiting thing. So we're still working through that backlog, but we're making huge strides. Yeah. So following that, holidays. Today's Cyber Monday. Get your discounts. In the Cyber Monday, Black Friday craziness, might be getting some gifts for siblings. And by that, I mean one of them, because the other one won't tell me what they want. So that's what I have. Do you have anything you're getting on Cyber Monday?
Look around, probably. No idea, though.
Yeah. I've debated on getting a new laptop because mine is from high school. I've had it forever. It's about that time. It's on Windows 7. So, it's old, which feels bad because Windows 7 was great. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get anything else for myself. I got a Lego set. That's all I need. My heart is content.
Plastic crack.
Hell yeah. Oh, it's so great. Following that, French Toast Day. Can't ever go wrong with that. That's delicious. Between French toast, pancakes, and waffles, what do you think you prefer?
Waffles.
I feel like for me, it's between waffles and French toast, mainly because I think the egg does something else. Maybe we need a French toast a waffle.
What are you gonna say?
I'm like, how feasible is that? I feel like it can be done because you have your batter in a waffle maker, you make it, and then you put the waffle back in with the
maybe.
French toast.
Yeah, I don't know if that like burns the waffle if it's already too much. Then we'll have to science this out.
Right? I mean, with French toast, you're basically just taking bread, which has been baked. So maybe you just need to cool the waffle.
Well, there's a difference though between like toasting bread and toasting a waffle, I feel. But
fair.
I'm not sure on that.
So we need to go buy some Eggos, and then we can French toast them. I feel like that would probably be
French toast Eggos though. Where do you know?
Oh, where it's built it. Yeah, but it's like
Cinnamon.
Yeah. We're gonna come back to this conversation at some point. Other holidays, it's Sovereignty Day in Argentina. This one was actually cool because I like learning about these holidays. Sovereignty Day, most of the time when you have a holiday about a battle or something, it'll be about a victory. Sovereignty Day is actually a celebration of a loss that later carried on to them winning at the negotiating table down the line.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a lose the battle, win the war mentality, which I think is really cool. It's also Chatham Islands Day, which is out in New Zealand. It's like 10 islands that surround New Zealand. That's part of the grander whole.
Okay.
And then it is Mauritania Independence Day, which is off of the Atlantic side.
Oh, I know, but explain for the folks, please.
It's the it's like right next to the Sahara on the one side. For you, it'd be this side. For those at home, this part.
Yes,
you gotta do the mirror. Hold on, wait. Can I get the cape, the horn? I can't bend my fingers. Anyway, and then
Jordan,
finally,
I think you threw up a gang sign there. You got to be careful.
the infamous C. Maybe this is the CW
CI?
gang sign.
Cincinnati.
Well, like the Bears are a Cincinnati team, right?
Sure.
I don't know sports ball.
No, it's Chicago Bears.
What the hell is Cincinnati?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
They're just a C. I can't remember what the name is.
No.
Well, their helmet's just like a stylized C, but I don't. That's the problem. They don't have the
I've
thing.
made so many people upset. It's football season.
Well,
is it football? Wait,
yeah,
it is football. Okay.
You live with a guy who, like, every Sunday is screaming his head off.
That's true. Kevin is very invested. Our roommate.
Their football team is the Bengals,
or for Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay. Interesting.
Remember the baseball team? Anyway.
You know where you won't find football teams? Mars. It's Red Planet Day. Segways. When expanding onto the Red Planet in the future, like humanity be, we should maybe take some lessons about expansionism and local nature, like we would from the movie Wolfwalkers. Segways.
Did we ever get the phallus we drew off of Mars, or was that the moon?
I'd assume it's the moon, because I don't think they would have to like plug it in the Curiosity rover, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. No,
either way, we should address that. But on to Red Planet Day.
I was gonna say for Red Planet, Mars has weather.
Yeah.
So that would ruin that. But if we put it on the moon, there's not an atmosphere, there's not weather. So unless a meteor like hits it directly, it's practically preserved there forever. Like, we still have the first footprints.
On to Red Planet Day.
Yeah, Mars.
There's weather.
Whoa. So,
Jordan, what's the weather like on Mars?
It's really stormy sometimes, and for some reason, there's this guy that keeps eating potatoes made from his own poop.
Thanks, Jordan. Over to Smithy for Mars Sports.
We ain't got none. Ah, paradise.
We also don't have a Smithy. It's just up here.
We need a Schmitty. Jaegerman Jensen.
Anyways.
It's devolving very quickly. Going from that animated reference to another one. We're talking about Wolfwalkers. So, Wolfwalkers is a very fun one. It came out in 2020, and it's the third movie made by the studio. And my goodness, it's very, very pretty. It's stylish as hell. There's a lot of attention to detail and color and design that went into it. To me, I feel like it almost I feel like some of the movie focused so hard on the style that it ran out of time or focus on some of the other elements. That's my feel for it, but overall, it's still a really, really great movie.
I think it is a painterly masterpiece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome
you can
voice casting,
you can practically pause it. You can practically pause it at just about any point in the movie. For the voice acting, you've got Sean Bean as the dad, which is just perfect. I'm glad he didn't die. Spoiler. Because it's Sean Bean. It's a kid's movie. They're not going to kill him.
Oh, yeah. Nobody dies in this movie. So
nobody dies in this movie.
God, you're just a spoiled cast. I know.
I try to avoid it as much as I can. Goodness, what else was great in this movie? I will say for the pace is a little bit weird because it doesn't feel like there's as much of an antagonistic force pushing things forward. If I were to describe the plot without spoilers, I feel like it's like a Avatar meets Ferngully meets very, very close to furry propaganda meets Brave is maybe how I would best describe it. It's a pretty solid mishmash of things with its own thoughts and themes and ideas, which I think elevates it above what it otherwise might have been. For instance, they make pretty overt religious references throughout, which I didn't think I would see.
Yeah.
That was interesting. It's not just
the implication is there through a lot of it, but they will just go outright and say it multiple times, and I was like,
yeah,
okay.
Even Pocahontas did something where glory of God, is a line that exists, but this one it was no, the Lord Protector is super religious as a man.
Lord shall guide us.
Yeah.
Prominence.
And then another thing that was really cool, this is based on Irish folklore. The kind of soft magic with rules was done really well. I felt like that's something that it's very easy to get soft magic wrong.
Oh, totally.
It
was very consistent, well pulled off. Everything made sense within its own internal logic.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the extent of the filmmaking, I would say. Absolutely
beautiful
check it out.
Hand-drawn animation.
So much attention to detail in the backgrounds too. They have different styles for sheep that are in it, that are in the background, that are still moving around and hopping about. I also really like the fact that they don't just settle on here's a sky backdrop.
Yeah.
They have the town, it takes up the entirety of the background. So it makes it feel like there's a little bit more geography happening as well.
I really say if you're into Gendy Tartakovsky stuff, these guys did Samurai Jack and Dexter's Lab, a bunch of other stuff, Clone Wars shorts. You'll enjoy that look at this quite a bit.
Yeah. So, spoilers, here we go.
Now we're gonna spoil the movie.
Now we're actually gonna spoil
this time.
Proper hardcore.
Because we didn't.
So we have Robin. She is a young English girl.
She does have a hood.
She does have a hood. Oh, sorry. On the subject of this movie has some deeper theme stuff. It also has a little bit of racism in it because everybody in this town is super against these two new English people that come in, which I thought was really whoa, I didn't expect it to go that way either.
Yeah, it was pretty right out of the gate about that, which is...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's something where Robin and her dad, they're new to this town, and her dad is just like, hey, please listen. People don't like us already, so we really need to, like, fit the mold as best we can here, because of the fact that they're English. So his whole role is he's trying to hunt down wolves. There are wolves that are on the edge of town. They keep pushing the boundaries. They're chopping down the forest.
They're trying to chop it down.
Yeah, but the wolves keep causing problems. So he, as a huntsman, is meant to take them out. And while the city continues expanding, Robin, is in the Merida from Brave analogy comparison. She's the... I want to be tough like Dad, and I want to shoot and be an archer with my crossbow.
I wish to be.
So she tries to help him. She breaks out of the town consistently. These guards need to be fired. She gets in and out of the town multiple times throughout the movie and tries to help in the hunt. At one point, she ends up getting bitten by Mabe, who is this orange-headed gal. I say head. Oh my gosh. I mean, the volume of her hair it's like twice the size of her body.
I was going to say, if that's actually her head, I'm horrified now.
Yeah.
It became a horror quick.
It's like Megamind full of hair. So Mabe ends up biting her at some point in her multiple ventures out, where we've established, like, the fact that the wolves are dangerous, and Mabe is this weird kind of exception of sorts as a wolfwalker. So she is a human living in amongst the forest and the wolves. So Robin goes home that night after Mabe tries to, like, heal her. It's established that the wolfwalkers do have a little bit of magic power. And when Robin goes to sleep, she wakes up in a wolf body, runs off into the forest, and meets Mabe in her wolf body. While their physical bodies are sound asleep, they can play with each other as the respective wolves. You can tell which one is which because they have eye color and different designs from the rest of the pack. Yeah. We have a very beautiful music video just thrown into the movie. It's very fun. It's very catchy. I'm running with the wolves. That whole sequence.
Kind of Irish, the pokey singing.
Yeah. And it very much reminds me of, like, Can You Feel the Love Tonight in Lion King.
Strangers Like Me from Tarzan. That was the one I was thinking.
Yeah, that's another good one. Oh, so after this whole endeavor, she promises to help Mabe because Mabe has noticed that her mom is missing in that...
It's been for a while.
Yeah, her physical body is just in this hibernation, like Odin sleep type of stance, just chilling in the middle of the forest, in their den, but her wolf form hasn't come back, and we don't know why. So naturally, Robin, being a nice person and having hung out with Mabe and knows that the Wolfwalkers, there's people that are in charge of this. If it's something where they can get her mother back, that they as a whole pack are able to just move to a different forest.
The idea was she left to go find somewhere else for them to go.
Exactly.
They're chopping down the trees, but
yeah,
she's not coming back at any point.
Since she's been missing, Robin says, I'm gonna help you. When she wakes up the following day, she goes to meet with Mabe and gets hung up by her dad, and she tries to explain, the Wolfwalkers are a real thing. They're there. They're people. I can help solve the wolf problem. And he's not having anything about her fanciful stories or anything. Robin, sit down and shut up and do as you're told. Here's a mop. Go to the scullery. You're going to be doing stuff. Blah, blah, blah.
It is for your own good.
It's for your own good. Yeah. And she doesn't like it, but has to comply, ends up mopping and doing laundry and cooking and the traditional things that is expected of a woman in the 1600s. I'm going to throw that number out there and assume it's right. Maybe even older. So in the midst of this, you get a little bit of back and forth of her telling, oh, she has a pet bird. I forgot about that. Merlin. Great name. He doesn't really do a lot in this movie.
All right, just unnecessarily call out the fun bird. Okay.
I would say he does help in that we establish that healing powers thing happen. And then I don't remember if he does anything else other than say, hey, Mabe, Robin told you to go, leave, get out of here. Because Robin comes across...
working in the scullery.
Yeah, in the scullery, she comes across this large cage, very ominous, spooky, what have you. Later in the movie, not this first round, but later in the movie, she comes back into it, finds out there is a giant wolf inside, and she's like, oh my gosh, and the giant wolf goes, oh my gosh, you understand me. I understand you. You're a Wolfwalker. You got turned into a Wolfwalker. I told her to leave. Why didn't Mabe leave? It is Mabe's mother in wolf form. Robin's like, all right, you know what? I promise I will get her to get the hell out of town.
I got this.
They go to do so. And at this point, the Lord Protector is kind of fed up on the fact that none of the wolves are actually dying because there's a Wolfwalker who every trap that Robin's dad sets. Yeah, every single one just gets sprung or broken or dismantled, what have you, because there's a human actively doing anti-trap stuff to keep the wolf safe. So the Lord Protector says, all right, you know what? I'm going to put on a show of force. I'm going to make sure that everyone in the town knows that we're safe, and I'm going to burn the wolves down to the forest, and it'll be great. But to get this started, he brings out the cage like in the center of town and says, look, I've tamed the beast. And the mom wolf is chained up to the nines. Yeah, muzzled, everything. And when he goes to kill her, Robin's like, no, don't, please. And the Lord Protector's like, dude, my dear good fellow, can you do nothing? Your daughter's a pain in the ass. You can't catch anything. You can't catch your own kid. Like, what's going on here, my guy? And at this point, Mabe has actively made her way back in, learns that her mother is in this cage, and goes to try to break her out. Doesn't manage to do so successfully, like, gets on top of the castle or the outer walls of the city and says, I'm a Wolfwalker. We're real, and I'm bringing the whole pack, and you're all gonna die. Yeah. Leaps off in the distance.
Very intense.
Gears up for war. In the meantime, they nearly kill Mabe's mother, and she ends up breaking out with Robin riding on this dire wolf's back as she hops the entirety of the gate as a giant wolf would.
Dodging gunfire.
Yeah, the whole way through. And then once they make it back to the forest, Mabe's mom's like, hey, I need you to stand down and shut up, please. She gets hurt because Robin's dad manages to actually hit a wolf.
Yeah, I think this is the one time he actually does it.
And it's real unfortunate because this is the time where he should not be hitting a wolf. So they start howling in order to do their magic.
Mabe's trying to heal her up.
Yep. And we get all of the pack all returned to their main den.
It's not working with just Mabe.
Yeah, we need the whole pack involved, and man and his weaponry is coming in full force with cannons and guns, starting to storm through the forest, causing a whole stir, and they're declaring war on the wolves proper. War of the Wolves. So, once they start fighting with each other, Robin is buying Mabe time to try to heal her mother, along with the rest of the wolves, and they end up biting her dad at one point.
Yeah.
Who then starts to turn himself into a Wolfwalker. And as the fighting back and forth, so on and so forth, continues. The Lord Protector ends up getting into a squabble with Dad proper in his now wolf form.
Huge wolf,
mega wolf, scary with a scar that he ends up getting partway through the battle. And if it's kind of Nightmare on Elm Street. If it happens to you in the wolf
body, it happens on your human body.
Yeah, so the Lord Protector is just about ready to shoot the unconscious body of Dad Wolf when
Human Robin
has reconnected. The way it works as far as the wolf versus human thing. When you fall asleep as a human, you turn into a wolf, or not turn into. You have a wolf spirit
like, comes out and it
manifests. Yeah, and then in order to go back into being a human, you gotta touch your paws, stick paw and hand together to like re-enter. Yeah, so her wolf form remerges with her human form that the dad is like carried into battle. A little irresponsible thinking on it now.
Well, I think he thought she might have been dead.
Oh no, he's in chains for a bit. That's what it was.
Caught up for being incompetent.
Yeah. And he learns that Wolfwalkers are real because she like boing hops out of her body as a wolf spirit thing. Anyway, after Robin shoots the weapon out of the Lord Protector's hand, they end up like getting him to the edge of the cliff. And in probably one of the best scenes of this movie, the direwolf dad has his chest plate by the teeth, and he just like accepts it, takes out a knife, and he's just like, may God, ferry my soul into the afterlife. Y'all suck. Cuts himself down, falls to his death over the cliff, down beneath a waterfall into sharp rocks and whatnot. Presumably dies. Not explicitly, but I would be shocked if this movie would go so far as to make it so that he's still alive somehow. So
either way, he's gone.
He's gone. He's not a problem. Yeah. And then all of the wolves and Robin and Mabe's mom, who's bleeding because she got shot with the arrow, and the dad in direwolf form all gathered together. And it doesn't work. Just kidding, it does.
No, she dies. It's horrible.
She dies.
Everyone cries. The Lord Protector is really dead.
It definitely does like a psych out for
it holds.
3 seconds.
It really holds.
Yeah, like as if this wouldn't. So the mom's fine. The dad, the kids, all of them are Wolfwalkers. The wolves
all happy.
Yeah, and like the last shot of the movie is they all get into like a traveling wagon caravan, just roaming through the countryside. And frankly, it is the best premise for like a D&D NPC, like whether it's a traveling merchant or something. It's just like, oh wow,
traveling family of werewolves.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, look at these 4. Oh, that's really great. Let's rob them. And then suddenly a giant pack of wolves goes to their defense, and 4 of them like have wolf spirits leap out of their body. This is basically just the D&D merchant movie campaign.
As with everything, we then have to contextualize it as a D&D thing.
Oh, absolutely.
This is just what happens.
We like D&D. So
it's a good way to steal ideas.
Yeah. So big picture.
Do it all the time.
What was very interesting with this movie? What were some of the deeper things? What are some lingering questions?
It had some really serious themes, like overall.
Yeah.
That was like one thing, like it's always hard with these, and I hate this term and I think it's useless of like, is this a kid's movie? I think it's a good movie for kids, but it's pretty tonally serious in a lot of ways. It's very grim and glum. It's
kind of like when you read Animal It's kind of like when you read Animal Farm. If you're introduced to Animal Farm too early, you'll miss a lot of what's going on. And I think that happens with this movie too. Maybe it's a little bit more palatable than Animal Farm.
There's a lot you can appreciate.
Yeah. And for like the things that it tackles, you have this back and forth of kind of, just starting off with religion. The townsfolk and the Lord Protector are very Christ Bible spread centric, and the fact that God is enabling their conquest of the world kind of thing.
We are the righteous.
Versus paganism and
the natural forces of the forest and stuff, and the Wolfwalkers being very representative of that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have the kind of ever lingering idea of expansionism versus preservation. You also have tradition and the constraints of tradition, regardless of what you are versus what you want to do, and being free to pursue what you'd like. I think that's very illustrative with Robin, especially with the scullery. Like, it's made to almost look like it's a prison.
Grinding workday. Well, and that's really a cool thing of the town. It's, it's big old town with this squared up walls and this gate. So it is very prison.
Yeah.
They lay it on with
They're
that.
not allowed to leave because they might get attacked by wolves. It's for their own good. Stay inside, stay indoors. And then, I think one of the more interesting, thoughts is the parallel of single parentage, where they're kind of pushed to their limit as much as they can, but ultimately they're trying to do best by their kids, even if that's to the detriment of themselves. Because you have the dad who actively is a hunter. He has one of the more dangerous professions in this world, and he does it while keeping Robin home and chained up in a scullery to keep her safe, because he's worried that I might not be there to protect you.
I promised you, mother.
Yeah, I promised your mom. And similarly with Maeve and her mother, she said, I need you to sit down and shut up and do as you're told, because I'm going to go find something that's safe for us to then go towards as an end goal. So that was something that I thought was really cool. And it's very wholesome that becomes one bigger happy family at the end. And a little bit of the idea of your friends become your family, in some respects.
Well, and it is very much that it is a fun representative for, alternate kinds of relationships. There's different dynamics to all different kinds of families. So I think that's a fun thing to see. I always am very positive on that.
Yeah. And I think one of the more interesting ideas is that this is kind of a coming of age story, but it also has a little bit of undertone of almost being a coming out story, which is why I'm it's furry propaganda adjacent.
I think it's one of those, it's a lot like The Matrix. The Matrix has been a lot of different things to me, but I think one of the really cool things about this movie is a lot of different people could read a lot of different things out of this. There were definitely the parts in the scullery, I can totally feel that, man. I know exactly what she's feeling in that moment and at that time, been there a million times, but and I think it is one of those things, you can really, I think that's very fun. There's a lot of cool readings and different things you can attach on to as different people.
Yeah.
But by all means, if you're a furry or just into anthro stuff, you should really watch this movie. I think you'll really like it.
This absolutely is your movie to go to for a good time. What else? I mean, ultimately, I do think it's worth a watch. For me, I feel the second viewing wasn't quite as special. It has been a couple of years since I watched it first, but I still enjoyed the ride. I just was picking it apart more. I don't know if it was my mindset or what, but I do feel there were more things that I was all right, that was an interesting line read here. Or, we mentioned that the pace of the movie and the larger structure of the plot is fairly predictable. It's a children's movie, so it gets a little bit of lenience on that, but it does feel all right, get on with it.
I will say that with an because I was literally one to point it out, but there's a thing with that, and I'm not saying that criticism, but there's an asterisk of look, we watch a lot of movies, so at some level there gets to be this
up on
it may not be entirely the movie's fault. I don't know how to feel on that. I don't know if that is yes or is no, but that is one thing I feel where I'm watch a lot of movies, so it's just there's only 5 stories, so I think part of that is just my own impatience of I want to play Dark Souls, please. But I would very much gladly watch this again. It was really good. I'm really curious to check out the studio's other stuff more so.
I agree. That's something that it'll absolutely be on the list.
Third movie?
It's either I could be wrong. This is either the third movie that they've ever done as a studio, or this is the third specifically for Irish folklore.
Okay.
I don't remember which because I forgot, frankly. But either way, it's the third of a sequence.
Either way, I'm very excited to see more of this stuff. Animation was so beautiful. I was a huge fan of cartoons. This was so nice to see.
Yeah. The fact that there was so much attention to detail and you really can just press pause at almost any single part of this movie and it goes straight into a children's storybook. It's such
it really does scratch that Samurai Jack, Clone Wars animated shorts like itch of like, I love the character designs of this so much. And just
they also had a really great way of physically separating out when a magical thing was happening.
Yeah.
It felt very enchanted with kind of the coloration involved and like the fact that they only show night or the sky, I should say, when they're outside of the city in the forest. When they're just on the outskirts of the city, there is no sky. You only see more city. So it feels that much. Yeah, it just feels that much more like ever encroaching, hunkered down, all encompassing. That was something that I think is a really, really nice touch. In addition to, again, like one of the times they go to the wolf den, there's a good number of dogs that are just sleeping in the same position. And then there's the one derpy dog with like his tooth and a tongue hanging out the side. Just, yeah.
But like, God, the landscapes, the forest, and that's just.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So absolutely watch it.
I think this may be my supplanter for Pocahontas.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Yeah. I think if I was going to watch Pocahontas, I'd watch this instead, personally.
It even has like the same, when we were talking about Pocahontas, we were gushing about some of the color usage in Pocahontas.
Yeah, exactly.
This takes that and doubles down.
It just runs with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I also would say Pocahontas is very like Broadway. I think the term I would use is like Oscar baity. This one feels much more genuine. And that's very important.
This is a fun story somebody like grew up with and really wanted it to tell in a cool way.
Yeah.
That's not a fact. That's just my impression.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Okay, but we watch up until the end of Colors of the Wind. Then we watch this.
Well, we got to get through Savages too. There's so much pretty happening in Savages with the blues and the reds in Pocahontas.
The song that much though.
It's really catchy. It's an earworm. I can ruin an entire
your love
history.
For repetition just it.
I was just gonna say I ruined multiple people's days multiple times in history class because we got to colonial relations with Native Americans and whatnot. And I just kept singing Savages in in like one person's ear, and it would be stuck in their head for the rest of the day. It's one of the best group troll tactics. It's the same with like humming oompa loompa doopa dee doo. Their day is ruined. They'll never get it out. Anyway, Connor, where can we check you out at?
As always, it's mostly here. Always, it's in the 5-string Connor on YouTube. Great week, everybody. Where are we? Yeah, no more. Yeah.
I don't exist. Killed it for the win. I stream on occasion. Wednesdays, we will have Kingdom Hearts in the future, but we're on a little bit of a break. Until it's not holidays. Woo! The holiday season. It's a busy time. Anyway, everyone, fantastic week. Take care.
Bye, lolly day.
Fade to black. Whee!